All right, so everyone, thank you so much for coming out to the Katy Lions Club and Foundation. This is our January 5th meeting. My name is David. I am the president. I want to introduce briefly our board of directors, our team. My first vice president, right now, she's actually in California with her family. That's Lydia. She also serves as my membership chairperson. And when I say my and club, interchangeable. Please don't think I'm anything of it. Then we do not have a second vice president at this time. She actually went ahead and transferred over to another club that needed her. My treasurer and also the club administrator, that's Sue Green. She's an amazing person with over 40 years of experience. Don't even look at me like that. You know you are. Problem? Okay. Then Maddie Thigpen, she's over here in that gorgeous purple shirt. She is our secretary and also the parliamentarian. She's the one that gets to tell me, no, we can't do things. Actually, that's the whole board who gets to tell me no. I love it. Then we also have Angel Goad. She is here in the Deadpool jacket. Hi. She's the safety, diversity, and inclusivity officer. It's her job to tell me if I'm going overboard. So, hey, everyone's pretty much getting to tell me no, right? I'm not going to go ahead and go through the rest of the team. Suffice to say, we have a bunch of amazing Lions who have leadership positions in our club. Which reminds me, the purpose of the club. We are an all-volunteer service organization that was set up in 1972, so 50 years ago, and it was created to serve and support our community. The tagline, where there's a need, there's a lion, that pretty much applies here. We do thousands upon thousands of service projects, volunteer hours, we're giving back to the community, whether it's our toy drive that we did last month, whether it's the scholarships that we do, whether it's whatever. We're always helping the community. Right now, we just bought a vision screening machine. So if you would like to be a sponsor, or if you know someone who might be interested in sponsoring that, go to www.katyvision.org and go ahead and make that donation. It is tax deductible to the fullest extent allowed by law because after all, we are a 501c3 organization. Valerie was supposed to be here. Valerie's our zone chair today. But unfortunately, she got called to a council meeting in downtown Houston. One of her members for the Houston Lady Lions is actually running for the City of Houston Council. So she's currently out there supporting that person, and as such, she's not able to actually be here to do this induction. And what I mean by induction is this. As Lions, we have the ability to transfer to other clubs, whether that's because we feel there's another club that needs us more. In the case of my predecessor, Carol, who should have been on the board this year, but instead transferred over to the Brookshire-Pattison Lions Club because they had a greater need for her service. Or we have our brand new Lion, Jogendra Patel, who just moved here from the Houston Scythe area, so he's transferring his membership over to us. Whatever the reason is, we love having our members and we love having our Lions, and whether you come to us or you leave us to serve another community, you're still a Katy Lion regardless. With that, I'm going to ask Jogan if you can come up here real quick, and I'm just going to ask you some questions, and you're just going to say yes to all of them. You like that? I tell him how he's going to answer. Hello. All right. Members and guests of the Katy Lions, I am pleased to announce that we have two new members of the club. The two new members we have are Glenda, and she's begged me not to drag her up here, so I'm just going to glare at her a little bit today. I encourage everyone to do a little bit of shaming. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then we also have Jogan, who is a transfer from the Houston Scythe Lions Club. So, I'm going to ask you a question. You just got to say yes, or if you say no, I'm going to be very disappointed. Yes. So will you help us to serve our community? Definitely. I love it. Will you help us to coordinate activities in accordance with the Lions Pillars of Service? Yes. Okay. Will you join with us in creating a spirit of understanding with all who we serve? He says yes. Awesome. Will you promote the principles of good government, good citizenship, and true fellowship? He says yes again. I'm waiting for him to say no somewhere. Will you take an active role in the civic, cultural, social, and moral welfare of our community? Love it. I'm getting all these yeses. Now he just has to do that when we vote for things. Will you seek to unite our community and other clubs in bonds of friendship and understanding? Yes. Will you strive to ensure that our club is an open forum for discussion of all relevant matters? Yes. Will you encourage yourself and others to be service-minded and to serve our community, knowing that there is no personal financial reward, instead seeking to promote efficiency and high ethical standards? Will you give me $1,000? Okay, but he didn't say no. He just didn't say yes. Anyway, congratulations, Shogun, on transferring to our club. We love having you. Thank you. You want to take a minute and introduce yourself?
Yeah,
Yes. All right. Here.
sure. My real name is Jogendra Patel. Last name is Patel, but I am called as a Jogen, just short, so everybody can, speak very well. Actually, I joined my Lions Club in 1995 in a country called Botswana in Africa. And then I was kind of in and out, so I quit. Then again I joined back in somewhere it was 2000, 2005, 6 somewhere, yeah. And then ever since I was there, last year I moved from Botswana to US. And that's how I was living in a Copperfield area on 529. And then I joined, I didn't know, so I just Google and closed my club, so I joined with Cypher over there. Last month I moved to KT area, so I thought let me take a transfer over here. Otherwise, I was a club president over in Botswana in 2016-17, and I'm past MJF. Thank you. Melvin Jones Fellow. Right. Yeah, it goes to the exactly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome. Oh, she's excited too. All right, so we do have a couple of guests in the room, so I encourage everyone to look around. If you're a Lion, look around and see someone you don't know and introduce yourself to them when we have a minute later. Other than that, I'm going to get the ball rolling a little bit. We have two amazing guest speakers tonight. The first guest speaker we're going to have is Vicki Cheers. She is with Longbridge. Is it right? Longbridge Financial. She used to be with another company, but they didn't appreciate her, so they went bankrupt. And they went bankrupt because they didn't appreciate her. She's an amazing person. She also has a tangential relationship to me, but we're not going to go there today. Anyway, so she's going to be talking to us about reverse mortgages, and I'm going to let her do all the actual conversations because I know nothing about this topic. Well, I know how to spell reverse mortgage, but that's about it. And then after we have Vicki, and that's going to be a 20-minute segment, then we're going to switch over to have Tina Hatcher. She's the executive director, and are you also a founder of? Yeah, also the founder of Hope Impacts. Hope Impacts is a homeless support and outreach organization that we've actually worked with in the past, and so we're excited to have her back. Last time she talked to us was 2 years ago, so we're very excited to have her coming back to talk to us again this year. So, without further ado, I am 5 minutes late, so Vicki, come on up.
Thank you. Do I need to tell you to advance it, or I didn't? Oh, you have it? Okay, you got it. Okay, perfect. There's not that many slides. Archangel. No, she liked that. All right, thank y'all for being here tonight. I appreciate y'all taking the time to learn a little bit about reverse mortgages. They're one of the most misunderstood financial vehicles that there are known to man. But I've been doing this loan exclusively since 2008. I don't do any other kind of lending. I did before, but when I discovered the reverse mortgage and saw it could change people's lives when used correctly, I just stuck with it, and I love it. And I have 1,000 grandparents now. So a little bit about the reverse mortgage. How many of y'all know somebody that has done a reverse mortgage? You don't count. That's my sister. How many of y'all, of those that know somebody that did it, think that they had a bad experience? They do. Okay. So let me tell you, the reverse mortgage has been around really since 1981. 1961 was initially when the first one was done. It was insured by Ronald Reagan in the 80s. And then it was a vehicle that people use just to access the equity in their home. It is an FHA insured loan. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. And the next one, I'm sorry. Next. I forgot to say next, sorry. It is an FHA insured loan. So FHA is standing behind this loan. They back it 100%. They back behind the lender. So the lender and FHA are co-owning the loan, right? So they both stand to back each other. It is an opportunity for somebody age 62 and above to access the equity in their home with no mortgage payments. And they still own the home, right? Payments are optional. If you do a reverse mortgage, and let's say you have a $200,000 home and we pay off your $100,000 mortgage, you stop making mortgage payments. There's no requirement for you to make mortgage payments. But if you wanted to keep making a mortgage payment, you could send one to us every month, right? And if you didn't send one to us one month, we're not going to call you and ask you where it is because it's a payment optional loan, okay? It's not a payment required loan. So people could treat it like a regular loan if they wanted to. The reverse mortgage will eliminate that current need for a mortgage payment, though, if there is a mortgage balance due, right? So it adds to the cash flow each month. If you don't have to send a check in, you have higher cash flow, right? The reverse mortgage, when you access this equity, can also help with short-term gains or long-term needs, right? So think about it this way. I walk into your home. I go, say it's a $400,000. I like even numbers, so we're going to use even numbers. I walk into your home and you have a $400,000 house. I put my hand on the wall of your $400,000 house and I tell you, I can't give you $400,000. That would be called a purchase. Where are you moving to, right? But based on your age and the value of your home, let's say I can help you access $200,000. It'll be different amounts for different ages. Older people get more than younger people, right? Because it's an actuarial product. So when I picture me cutting a hole in the wall of this $400,000 house and telling you I can make available to you $200,000. That $200,000 isn't in your bank account. It's not in our bank account. Where is it? Anybody? It's still in the house. You didn't take it out. All we did was make it available to you. You didn't use it, okay? So of your $400,000 house, if you were to reach your hand into this imaginary wall, right, $200,000 is the equity you can't touch because I couldn't lend it all to you, right? And the other $200,000 is the part you can touch. It's the part we made available to you, right? Let's say you take out $5,000. You owe us how much? $5,000. You only owe us $5,000. If you take out $5,000, you only owe us $5,000 because the other $200,000 you didn't take out. It's still in the wall of your house, right? So if you take out $5,000, you owe us $5,000, and we're going to accrue interest on the $5,000. But here's the part nobody tells you. The other $195,000 in this example that is left continues to increase, and it can outpace the value of your home. So picture that $195,000 growing at 6%. It's going to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. If the house turns around and the market falters and the homes fall in value, and I just want to point out in 1987 our home values fell to 45% of value. Way worse than 2008. Some of y'all are too young to know that. But they did. It fell to 45% of value. Katie here and A-Leaf were a series of bunch of roads that led nowhere, and in some case there was a single house sitting on that whole street, and it stayed that way for years, okay? It could happen again. If it did happen again and somebody had that line of credit growing, it keeps growing regardless of what happens to the value of the property. The value of the property does not diminish that line of credit, right? So it's just an accessible line of credit that you can use when you need it. If you take out $10,000, it goes in the you owe it back to us bucket, but it requires no payments, right? In the meantime, the balance continues to grow. And this is the part nobody tells you, right? Because loan officers are paid on loan size. They need you to take out all of that $200,000 because that's what they are paid based on, right? So that's why I always work for the lenders, because with the lenders, we're paid exactly the same no matter how you take the loan. So it makes it to where you get the same advice my mom got. You got the same advice to do the same loan that I did 2 months ago, right? So when you have this line of credit, and you have a short-term need, you got to pay property taxes. You can reach, or some don't. You can reach in there, pull the money out, pay your property taxes. If you want to put it back, you can send it back. You can take money out, send it back. Take money out, send it back, right? Or you might use it to say, hey, lender, if I wanted to receive some money each month, how much could I get based on what I have in there? In this example, the 200,000. Based on my age, how much would that send me each month, right? And the lender will tell you exactly what that is. And now it's going to add to whatever you have for income each month. And the proceeds that were in this magic wall, it has no effect on IRS or Social Security, right? These are not income proceeds, they're loan proceeds, which means they have no effect on anything, right? So it's an access to equity. Look, you saved the money in a bank account and you thought nothing of spending it in retirement. What's the difference in if you saved it in the wall of your house, right? It's just another bucket of money is all it is. So it can also help you not pull from retirement funds. Right now, a lot of people have taken a big hit in the stock market, right? So if you were somebody who had $100,000 that now it's $70,000, most financial planners will tell you don't touch that money. It needs the opportunity to heal, right? Those of us with stomachs will look at it. Those of us that don't have stomachs, I just don't look. I don't want to know. So if you're one of those, the way you don't touch that money is you pull from the line of credit, right? Because the line of credit doesn't have tax consequence. So if you're somebody who's pulling out, say, $1,000 a month from your retirement funds, you saved it for that. That's what it was meant to do, right? So you're pulling out $1,000 a month, but what you don't hear is you're really cashing in shares. You're not pulling out $1,000, you're cashing in shares. So what if you have 10 shares at $100 a share? Probably makes sense, right? To pull it from your wealth account, from your 401k. But what if those shares fell in there $10 a share? Do you want to cash in 100 shares to do what you did last month for 10? No. You reach into the line of credit, you pull it from there, it has zero tax consequence. So maybe instead of $1,000, maybe you only need to pull out 800 because you don't have to pay taxes on it, right? And you pull from the line of credit until your reserves to your retirement accounts return to normal or to where you and your trusted advisor think they should be. And then you can send it back to the house if you want. Because remember, you can take it out, put it back, take it out, put it back, right? So it can stop you from doing it. The other thing you can do with it is you can use the line of credit to stall taking Social Security. Social Security on a 62-year-old continues to go up 8% per year. Every year you don't take it until the age of 70. I don't know anything else that has a guaranteed 8% gain. Now, there are financial people that will tell you, take it at age 62 because you'll never live long enough. But you know what? You want to be 93 stuck out there and you could have had a whole bunch more money just because you thought there's people on both sides, right? But a lot of people will set up this line of credit and start pulling from it if they need it at age 62 because they're getting a guaranteed 8% return on Social Security for not taking it, right? So that's something else that they're using it for. Next, please. So some of the advantages of the reverse mortgage: optional mortgage payments, you don't have to make them. Non-taxable income, we talked about that. The money from the line of credit is not taxed. The line of credit increases, right? And the requirements to get into the loan are a little less stringent. It's not easier, it's different. It doesn't have the same kind of guidelines that forward mortgage does. But it is a different kind of qualifying because we need people that once we put them in this loan that they're going to be able to pay ongoing property taxes, homeowners insurance, and HOA. We don't want to put you in a loan and we didn't check to see if you had enough money to keep paying something, right? This loan used to not look. It used to say, oh, you're not making a payment to us anyway, so we don't need to look. Your driver's license, Social Security card, and proof you have homeowners insurance, you want to reverse, you got it, right? But those were the people that went on the news and told everybody that the reverse mortgage took their house. The truth is, guys, the reverse mortgage doesn't require payment. Why? Why, oh why, would a reverse mortgage ever take a house? Anybody got an answer? Nope. Anybody? Nope. Think about it. It doesn't require a payment. If it doesn't require payment, nope. It doesn't require payment. So what could you do that would risk that note? Bobby. Thank you, ma'am. And by the way, you can have a paid-for house. Try not paying the property taxes. right? Try not paying your HOA. Try not paying your homeowner's insurance if you have a mortgage with anybody, right? The reverse mortgage doesn't want your house, okay? The reverse mortgage, it's a federally insured loan. What we do for Jim, we have to do for John, okay? If Jim and John are the same age and have the same price point house, right? And Jim is paying his property taxes, but John does not, well, we're not going to let the house, the lender is not going to let that house go back for $4,000 back to the county when we have a lien on it, right? So we're going to step up and pay that. Well, the minute we do, did John get a better deal than Jim? Because I paid his property taxes, right? Can't do that, right? And so John has to quickly pay us back, or HUD will say we showed favoritism to John, which we did, and therefore John's house, he can lose his house for that. But try not paying your property taxes with forward mortgages. All I'm saying, right? Next, please, ma'am. Owen, go one more. Okay, so reverse mortgages at glance. So basically, you can use the reverse mortgage to refinance your home or your FHA insured approved condo. It has to be your principal residence. If you're married, you both have to be on it in the state of Texas. Other states have different rules on this. State of Texas, married people have to be on it together. Any remaining funds that are available from the reverse mortgage have to first go to satisfy any liens on the house. So if you have a mortgage, a HELOC, anything you've got that's a lien on that house is going to get satisfied first. So in that same example, $400,000 house, I could give you $200,000. If there's a $100,000 mortgage on it, we're going to pay the $100,000 off first, and the other $100,000 will be available to you in a line of credit. You don't have to take it. We just make it available to you in a line of credit. If you never need it, you never owe it back, right? But if you need it one day, it's always sitting out there for you. You own the home. If you have a regular mortgage, who owns the home? Bobby, you're cheating, you know. Anybody? Who? No, the bank does not own the home. The bank is just a lien holder. You always own the home, okay? The bank is just a lien holder. One of the examples I give is if you want to paint your house chartreuse, ridiculous color, that's between you and your neighbors. The bank's got nothing to say about it. That's between you and them. But the bank has nothing to say about it, right? If you want to quit mowing your grass, that's between you and your neighbors or the HOA. But the bank's got nothing to say about it. If you let a tree fall through the roof, why would the bank care? Because you're not living in it. It would threaten your ability to live in it. And this loan is an owner occupancy required loan. It has to be your primary residence. You're welcome to get in your Winnebago and go, but it's got to be your primary residence, right? So you always own the home, and there's no payment required as long as the last borrower was still there. So if you have a married couple and they qualify together and then we lose one, divorce, murder, whatever, okay. If we lose one, I don't know why I said murder, sorry. I don't know why I said that. If we lose one, as long as one continues to live there, there's no requalifying. You don't have to do anything to the loan, right? Next one, please, Angel. So a case study real quick, and I know I'm running in time. I put an example on y'all's desk, or Bobby did, and just real quick, I want to show you this line of credit. I tend to use simple numbers, okay? And I want to show you, you're going to notice I highlighted across the top. I think it looks a little bit too numbery, so I just highlight important things I want you to follow. If you look at the very top, I highlighted a value of $600,000 and a youngest borrower's birthday of November 1st, 52. Okay, so basically I got a 70-year-old, right, on a $600,000 house, right? We're required to quote 3 examples always, so I'm going to ask you to bear with me and go down column 1 real quick, right? Because I always put column 1 as the one that I would do, okay? And basically what happens, you'll notice I highlighted $600,000, the borrower's birthday, and I highlighted the interest rate, and this is the interest rate from August 31st, I believe. So I highlighted the interest rate. With those 3 factors, just those 3 factors, HUD tells us what's the most we can lend. And if you'll look, I highlighted 2 lines right here, and you'll see one that says total principal limit. That total principal limit is $225,000. Y'all see that? So the most there is available on that price point at that age is $225,000, right? We back out the fees on the $225,000, and if you look all the way at the bottom, you'll see I highlighted $200,926. See that? So this person with a $600,000 house we can make available to him 200,926. But look at the next page. If you go to the next page, column 1 says remaining line of credit. You'll see that? I highlight every 5th year just to draw our eyes to the same place. Look at year 5. It started with 225. Look at year 5, remaining line of credit, the balance in that line of credit. $290,125 is what is available to that borrower. Look at year 10, $418,000. At the very least, could this not be a long-term care backup plan? At the very least, could this not be the all shucks, something went wrong plan? At the very least, this is home equity in action. You did not take it out. This borrower didn't take out a penny. They don't owe us anything except for the fees that were set up at the beginning of the loan, which they didn't have to write a check for. I mean, if you look at year 15, they've got $600,000. This is a 70-year-old. At age 85, he's going to have over $600,000 available to him in a line of credit. And this is the part that people don't show each other. And it's important that people know that there's another option to this loan. Y'all see that? Follow that one? Okay, so basically, I don't know where I am on time. So the other thing this loan can do is you also, and real quick, there was one piece of paper out there, new to Texas, is you can also buy a home with the reverse mortgage. It's called a HECM for purchase. I call it the reverse of a reverse, right? But literally, I can show somebody how to take a $400,000 house and go buy one for $200,000. All the same rules apply. You still got to be a primary resident, still have to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance. You can't escrow it because there's no mortgage payment. You're not sending us a payment every month, right? So it gives you options. I have people that will literally learn about this loan and they never thought about moving. I just did a guy last summer. He had $3.5 million at $3.4 million in the bank. He lived in a $240,000 paid for home. It was fixed up like a dollhouse. He was never moving, okay? But his daughter bought a house out in Tamarwan. She happened to see my flyers and stuff at a 55 plus community out there, shows it to her dad. Her dad picks it up, and he ends up buying a brand new $300,000 house in a 55 plus. So it's 2-bedroom with an office and, all new. It's going to age appropriately for him in retirement, right? Because everything's new. He spends $50,000, puts every upgrade in that house you can. It's the most upgraded little house in that little 55 plus community, right? And then when he sells his $240,000 house, he clears about $225,000. Of that $225,000, I needed him to put down $171,000. He put down $171,000, bought a brand new $350,000 house with no mortgage payments. The $50,000 difference he cleared from this house, right? I only needed $171,000. He cleared $225,000 or so from his house. He stuck that $50,000 back in the bank with this $3.4 million. That man could have paid cash for the house. What was he waiting on? Nobody wants to spend the money they have in their retirement accounts on a house. What they want to do is, what they really want to know is, how much can they get for what they have in their old home, right? Well, if you can take your $250,000 house and go buy a $400,000 house, you don't have to. Maybe you just buy a $240,000 for half price, But your money goes further when you purchase a home using the HECM for purchase. And that is new to Texas. There were only 131 of those loans done in the whole state of Texas last year. So that loan, even reverse mortgage specialists don't really talk about. In my company, there were 176, my old company, until I was with the same company for 9 years, and they just went bankrupt on 2 weeks' notice back in November. I'm still a little shell-shocked. But when they, of the 178 of us, only 3 of us specialized in the HECM for purchase. It is a different loan to do, but even the guy on, what was that, Blue Bloods guy, what's his name? I just drew a blank. Tom Selleck. Even Tom Selleck doesn't try to explain that purchase product in his ads, Anyway, did y'all have any questions? I don't know what time was. Oh, I did? Okay. Well, the other thing I've seen with this loan, I've seen people use this loan to send kids to college, grandkids to college. They're accessing equity, right? I've seen one take out the loan and send $30,000 to a kid to buy a Lenny sub shop, Everybody uses it differently. The reverse mortgage is always exactly the same. What happens is every one of us bring a different scenario to the reverse. Two people aren't going to have the same birthdays. Two people aren't going to have the same needs. I got a call the other day from a financial planner. He's got a little lady that they promised her they'd never take her from her home. And so they're trying to not burn through the retirement accounts, right? Because you can eat retirement accounts. You can't eat a house, right? So they're trying to not burn through the retirement accounts and need $15,000 a month in order to keep her in her home. And so we can take that that line of credit that we were showing here, right? And that can provide the access to the equity. In this example, that lady this account had $200,000, right? That'll give them some time, before they have to start utilizing the funds in the retirement accounts. Yes, Bobby. Yes, Bobby, thank you. It actually does. Yes. So what she's saying is, if you keep sending a payment into us, right, you have the line of credit or you have the loan balance, right? So let's go back to our $400,000 house with a $200,000 available, right? Well, let's say they owe $100,000 in mortgage. So now they have a $100,000 loan balance and a $100,000 line of credit. Same $200,000, just we had to pay off a mortgage for them. If Bobby there wanted to keep making a mortgage payment because she still had the available cash, right? Say she sent us $1,000 every month. At the end of the year, she would have still sent us 12 grand, right? But what happens is when she sends this money in on the loan says, but I had this money, okay, but I had this money available for you. I'll just put it over here on the line of credit for you. And so line of credit isn't cash until you take it out, right? But what she's doing is when she sends us $1,000, is she not reducing her loan balance? So if we're charging 6%, whatever the rate is, then when Bobby sends in $1,000, I'm not charging her 6% on that 1,000 because she really did pay it down. But then the loan says, oh, you paid us back, but I had this money available to you, so I'll just stick it over here on the line of credit where it's growing at what rate? The same rate as I'm charging over here. So if she sends in 6% and reduces her loan balance, and do I stop charging her 6%? And then when I put it on the line of credit, is she not still getting a 6% line of credit growth? And is 6% plus 6% not a 12% swing? And guys, it's not any easier. There's no difference in transferring money from your Wells account to your Chase account. Exactly the same. Does Bobby still have access to the money in the line of credit? Yes, she does. So what's the difference if it was in her bank account or not? She still has access to it. You're making a much better interest rate, yeah. Your bank checking accounts aren't paying this, by the way. Sure. It is a loan. If they want the help. If they want to keep it. Yeah, if they want to keep it. Getting rid of the home is exactly the same as if you had a traditional mortgage. There's no difference, right? If you have a traditional mortgage and you have a $400,000 house and you owe the bank $360, the kids are, because you got to pay a real estate agent, so they'll probably just walk away, right? But if they owe $300,000 on a $400,000 house, what are the heirs going to do? They're going to put a sign in the front yard. They're going to sell the house. The lien holder is going to be there at the title company to collect the portion that goes to them, and the balance goes with the heirs, right? So when a reverse mortgage happens, there's no difference. It's still a first lien lender is all a reverse mortgage is. So the position with the lien is no different than a traditional mortgage that you're all used to, okay? So when my client passes away or just moves, right? If they move, they're going to sell the house, and we're going to be there to collect what's owed us, and the balance is going to go with our clients if they're moving and to their heirs if they left us. If the client passes away, or the last one has passed away and they're no longer in the home, the kids are going to do exactly the same thing. If they want to keep the home, they're going to pay us what's owed, right? Just like they would if mom and dad had a traditional mortgage, right? or they're going to sell it. And if they sell it, we're going to be there when the title transfers. They don't have to pay us up front. We'll be there when the title transfers. We'll catch them at title, right? Be there when title transfers, and the balance goes with them if they're moving or their heirs if they left us. But here's the best part. This is the only loan that is a non-recourse loan, which that means is, again, back to our $400,000 house. $400,000 house, let's say they took out all 200, we had to pay off a mortgage. Well, that 200,000 negatively amortizes if they don't make payments. So the 200,000, let's say it grows to 300 over some period of time. And let's say the $400,000 house grew to be a $500,000 house over the same period of time. When they die, sell, pass away, whatever happens, we're going to be there to collect the 2 plus the accrued interest to 3, and the other 200,000 is going to go with our heirs, with our client if they move, or their heirs if they left us, right? But what if the house 1987 happens all over again, right? House is worth, they owe us 300, but now the house is only worth 2, okay? This is the only loan where the house stands alone for the debt. We can't go back after stocks, bonds, insurance policies. We can't hit the estate. We can't hit anything. The clients can actually have the house for only 95% of what it's appraised for. They owe us 300, and we'll let them have it for 95% of 200 if they want to keep it. Heirs don't have to pay the shortfall. Nobody pays anything. HUD has insured the loan, and it's protected. So my clients get all the benefits of the up market with 100% protection from a down market. I've never seen a bad one. I've never seen a bad one. But I can see David approaching me from the side. Slowly. The presence is being felt. I thank y'all for your time. If you'd like more information, I'll be here at the end of the thing. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Vicki. So if you guys want to reach out to her, she put her business cards on the tables. I think her phone number's at the top of her sample, so, there's that. Tina, is that the correct video for you? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start that as Tina slowly makes her way up. Once again, Tina Hatcher.
Homelessness is a growing epidemic, shattering the American dream for many. There can be so much shame when we have made a mistake. What if no one ever lets you forget? Would you ask your family for help? Or would you hide that you've been living in your car for the past 6 months, too embarrassed to expose your struggles? What if the pain was so great you tried to escape, but the stigma of addiction keeps you in the cycle? What if everyone just passes by in fear or ignorance without knowing how to help? What if you were taught the path is clear, but you are left to confront the confusion alone? When it feels like everyone has turned their back on you, where can you turn? With over 3,000 people currently homeless in the Houston area, here at Hope Impacts, we understand that we're all just one crisis away from becoming homeless ourselves. By providing a safe environment, intentional community partnerships, a vast referral and resource system, meeting basic essential needs, providing connection and ongoing relationships, building opportunities, we promise to walk the journey of life together. Hope Impacts has been honored and privileged to help over 180 people get off the streets in the Katy community since 2016, when Hope Impacts first began operating full-time.
With housing, they've helped me with clothing, they've helped me with medication, stuff when I'm needed things. And on top of that, they made you think about giving back, so therefore I do a lot of volunteer work.
Our vision is to create a sustainable solution to homelessness, while our mission is providing hope and dignity through a supportive community for those experiencing or facing homelessness. We focus on the needs of both the chronically and the situationally homeless. While we meet immediate needs on the street, we also seek to create pathways towards more sustainable, permanent solutions. With client advocacy, we get to know each client and work one-on-one to develop a recovery plan and connect them with services that meet their needs. With referrals to partnering organizations, our network takes people from homeless to housed. There's a lot of paperwork when trying to apply for a job, pursue housing, or order legal documents. We know this can be hard when you're trying to make your life better while still on the streets. So clients are welcome to use our computers and phones and even have their mail sent to our office. We provide the most basic needs of our clients by offering hot showers, warm meals, and the opportunity to build relationships through our supper and showers program on our monthly lunch outreach. Not only do we believe in feeding the body, but in feeding the soul. In everything we do it in love, to provide practical skills, biblical teaching, and the opportunity to build a supportive community so that our clients can succeed. Hope Impacts receives no state funding and is based 100% on donations. Contributing financially to Hope Impacts makes you a vital part of our team and allows us to continue working to end homelessness in the areas that we serve. Our supporters have big hearts and big goals of creating sustainable options and lasting solutions that will end homelessness. Give today and become part of that solution.
Thank you for showing that video. I did leave some pamphlets on your tables and a little card about just a little snapshot of who we are and what we do. I'm pretty loud, so I don't feel like I need the mic. If you can't hear me, let me know, and I'll step up to the mic. But it's a room that'll catch my God-given projection skills. So Hope Impacts was founded in 2014. I was working a full-time job. My background is in special education. After I left special education, I was in senior care management at a assisted living facility for a while. And then I went back to education. And then God put us in a position where we experienced situational homelessness. And through that situation, at that point in time, I was saving money to go to a trip to Africa, a mission trip to Africa. I'd never been out of the country. That was in 2011. And when I left and went to Africa, I came home and I told my husband we had to sell the house and move and go be missionaries in Africa. And he said, I don't think that's what God wants me to do. So you probably don't need to move to Africa either. So I went back to Africa in 2013, and I was just, I was so passionate about making a change in the world. And so I started praying that God would just break my heart for what broke his in my own community. And because I'd experienced situational homelessness, it was like God just took the blinders off my eyes, and I started seeing people standing on the corners, and I'm like, I live in Katy, Texas. We have money here. Why are people standing on the corner in Katy, Texas, and why isn't anybody helping them? So in 2013, I got a desire to figure out what the community was and wasn't doing about homelessness and how we can make a difference. And I found out there were little pockets of people here and there that were doing little things, like every November and December when it's cold, you think about people that are cold and you go out with blankets and coats and stuff like that. Well, soon I realized by building relationships with people and going out and talking to them that there's like, for every 10 people you see standing on a corner, I know 15 more people that won't go stand on a corner. So the 10 people standing on a corner are getting 15 jackets, and the 10 other 15 people aren't getting any jackets. And when you live outside, you can't carry a lot with you. You carry everything on your back. But what about the people who were facing homelessness that weren't chronically homeless and weren't standing on a corner? Who was helping them? We were lucky. We had friends that allowed us to come and stay with them during our time of crisis. But I got to thinking, what if I didn't have a family? What if I didn't have friends? What if I didn't have a church group that I could rely on and count on to help me through a crisis? What if I was alone in a new place, or my family was what I was running away from instead of what I could run to? And so I was like, okay, well, why isn't somebody doing something about it? And God whispered in my ear, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, oh, okay, well, I was wanting somebody to do something about it. I didn't necessarily mean it was going to be me. But once once you're aware of something, you cannot be unaware of something. And because it had happened to me personally, and also through my family of origin and my husband's family of origin, and our family together, we have experience with mental health issues, with addiction issues, with. So I'm just going to ask you some questions. Who in this room loves somebody that has had issues with addiction, or mental health issues, or lived on a fixed income, or been unemployed, underemployed, been in jail, had felonies on their backgrounds, been evicted? How many people have suffered from a medical crisis or a mental health crisis, or knew somebody that suffered from a medical crisis or a mental health crisis? And if you haven't checked any of those boxes, how many of you have known anybody that's been affected by a hurricane or a flood or a freeze? So as you can see, there's many reasons why people are affected by homelessness, and some people that we find that we are helping now are people that 3 years ago were helping us, and no, they didn't ever think it could happen to them. So the reality of the situation of homelessness is this: it can happen to anyone at any time for many different reasons. So none of us are immune to the possibility of facing homelessness. Now I'm going to meet with my friend Vicky after this and get the name of the guy that's the millionaire, because I need him to donate to Hope Impacts. But what I realized is that really what people need and what changes people's lives are relationships and community. What Hope Impacts is not is a shelter. We don't have a shelter. I am thankful for shelters. They serve a purpose, but my goal is not to give somebody a shelter. My goal is to create an affordable housing community where people can work and live and get mentored. I believe in treating people holistically to help them heal mind, body, soul, and spirit. What we do is meet basic needs. So like tonight, we're having suppers and showers at Crossroad Church every Tuesday and Thursday night from 5:30 to 7:30, where people can go and get a hot shower, they can get clean clothes, they can get a hot meal. Our office is open 4 days a week. So 4 days a week, we are offering people a hot meal, some clean clothes, showers, but also we're offering them resources. Excuse me. To rehabilitation centers, to if you get a job opportunity, we'll make sure that you have clothes, professional clothes and shoes. We partner with other organizations in the community that meet needs that we cannot meet. We do not pay bills. We do not get any government and state funding. So what we offer people is an opportunity for the community that we live in to come and meet the community that's struggling, whereas they may not get the opportunity to do that. Is there a bottle of water? It's room temperature's fine. I swallowed the wrong way. So some of the ways that we get the word out, people say, how do you get the word out? Well, we're on, if you don't have us pinged on your Facebook page, if you have a Facebook page, like Hope Impacts and share it with your friends. The website is www.hopeimpacts.org. Since we don't get any federal or state funding, we rely on donations, we rely on partnerships, we rely on our applying for grants and our fundraisers. And for us, the goal is eventually to create a community where people can live affordably. Because if you think about the reality of trying to provide for yourself, you have to make 3 times the amount of rent that you're needing to pay. And if you make $10 to $15 an hour, you're not going to make 3 times the rent. So even if you work, there's homeless people that work 2 jobs, and they just don't make enough money to be able to afford their place independently. We work with all different kinds of people. We work with group homes, we work with personal care homes, we work with people that work with Medicaid, without Medicaid. We help people receive their services like food stamps and the Gold Card, and we work with the clinics in town like Christ Clinic and Love Thy Neighbor Clinic. I don't have insurance. I go to Love Thy Neighbor Clinic, thank God. We work with dentists that see our clients one client a month and do free teeth cleaning and look at their teeth and do dental work if they need it, not major dental work like replacing all their teeth with dentures, but we work with a vision source who does an eye exam and a free pair of glasses a month. We have Cuts for Christ that come in and do free haircuts every month. We want to offer people hope and dignity, because you cannot move out of your situation that you're in if you don't feel like there's hope for you to change your situation. And sometimes through our Suppers and Showers program or through people coming to our office and meeting people, we've had people been offered jobs, been offered vehicles, been offered a room to rent. Those are life-changing experiences that as an organization we can't do that alone. People call us every single day. We get about 10 phone calls a day and say, I need to come to your shelter. Well, I don't have a shelter. And honestly, all the shelters in Houston are pretty much full and have been since Harvey. And so there are things that we feel frustrated about because we can't overcome everything that is associated with homelessness. But we have a place where people can come and be treated with dignity and respect and get their basic needs met and build relationships and build community. And we take donations from the community, both monetary donations and people in November and December. It's 2 big donation months for us. So they're doing blanket drives and coat drives and clothing drives and thermal drives and hats and gloves and scarves and we get an overabundance. So we have our offices in Katy. We also have a second office in Richmond, Rosenberg. That office we share. We rent a space from Attack Poverty Friends of North Rosenberg, but we do have a full-time staff member there. We have 3 off-site storage units so that we can keep things so that when things are donated and we run out of room, we have a place where we can go and store stuff because the socks and the coats and the blankets that we get in November, December, they last us all through January, February, March when the cold snaps continue to happen. Although we don't have an emergency shelter, we did open an emergency shelter during Harvey. We brought all the homeless in during Harvey and we had the biggest longest slumber party ever. 7 days of bringing people in and keeping them safe during the floods of Harvey. And then when the freeze happened last year in February, we opened at Crossroad Church. It was supposed to be for 3 days to keep the homeless people from freezing to death, and it wound up being for 6 days. And the whole community came, and the ambulances were bringing people, and the police were bringing people because people were living in their homes alone, and their pipes were bursting, and the elderly were in their home with no electricity, and their pipes were bursting, and they were scared, and they didn't know what to do. And even the churches were losing electricity and water, and thank God he kept us safe at Crossroad. But we couldn't even get out to go to the grocery store to buy groceries. But God provided through the community to bring food to us so that we could continue to provide a safe place for people to be. And the thing that I love about living in Katy, Texas, I'm a native Houstonian. I grew up in Sharpstown. I graduated from Sharpstown High School in 1980. We moved to Katy in '94. And the thing I love about living in Katy, Texas is all of the churches and the nonprofits support one another. And I absolutely love that about this community. And we help one another meet needs. If we can't meet it, we help somebody else meet a need. Today I was at Katy Christian Ministries touring their new facility on Porter Road and took them some food because we got a lot of food donations and some of it we could use and some of it we couldn't. Well, I'm not going to let it go to waste. So we took it to Katy Christian Ministries so they could use it in their pantry. We partner with Christ Clinic to meet people's medical needs. If somebody's in dire straits and they're sick, we're going to make sure they have a ride to a doctor. We're going to make sure they have a ride to a dentist. We're going to make sure that they get glasses if they need glasses, and if they need medication, we'll help them pay for their medication. And occasionally, some of the mechanic shops in town will help us work on people's cars and fix minor things with people's cars. Because when you're in a state of crisis, it is so hard to figure out how you're going to get out of that situation. So we closed down for Christmas we had our Christmas party December 22nd. We closed down the 23rd through January 3rd. But I had somebody wanted to bring me coats because it was getting cold Christmas weekend. It was freezing, right? And so we partnered with Attack Poverty, and they were opening a warming center in Rosenberg, but my family was having Christmas the same time that freeze was happening. But I met somebody at my office, and they were giving us coats so we could go hand out coats, making sure people didn't freeze, and we were keeping them as warm as possible. There was a lady that drove up that I thought was coming to bring coats, that was coming to ask for help from Hope Impacts, not knowing our office was closed. She's a mom with 4 kids. She'd been swindled out of her savings. She was trying to start her own business, and she was evicted from her home. And she made arrangements with the landlord to go back the next day and get her kids Christmas presents and their clothes and the necessities while they went and got settled in a hotel. And when she shows up the next morning, the moving van had already come and taken everything and cleared out their house, including their Christmas trees, their presents, their decorations, their kids' clothes. They had nothing. And this was somebody who 6 months ago was planning on starting her own business, trust the wrong person online. They wiped out her bank account, and then she couldn't even provide for her family. We never know what's going to happen to us. We never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So my philosophy is we love people where they are, but too much to leave them there, and we will walk the journey of life with you to help you reestablish at least your hope and dignity until you can figure out what it is that we can help you attain. You've got to put in the work, of course, to change your life. We can't change it for you. But I just want to tell you two quick stories. One is the very first person that we helped was a gentleman before I even started Hope Impacts. My husband and I, at a point in time in our marriage, would allow people to come stay with us to give them a hand up instead of a handout. Some people just need a safe place to go, and he didn't have a safe place to go. He lost everything. He lost his home. He was living in his car. Nobody would hire him. He was looking for work. He didn't have any mental health issues. He didn't have any addiction issues. He was just a little older. He was a welder by trade. I happen to know somebody that owns a welding business. So I took him over there. They hired him. He started going to church with us. They have a Bible study that he goes to at the Ober and Sons Welding. This was 8 years ago. He still works at Ober and Sons Welding. He comes back to Hope Impacts every year at Christmas, and he gives a donation to show us appreciation for pouring into his life and helping him build relationships. The first year it was $100. Last Christmas when he came, he gave us $2,400 because God has blessed him, and he wanted to pour back into an organization who believed in him and gave him hope and dignity and helped him get back on his feet. He wasn't looking for a handout. He was looking for a hand up. And that's what the difference relationships and community can do for somebody. The other story I want to tell is very humbling for me because there is a gentleman in our community that I knew was involved in drugs. I lost a brother to drugs. My sister's been sober now for 37 years. I have had children that are in recovery. And so I love an addict. I hate addiction. So addiction's a very difficult thing, and everybody can be redeemed and restored. So this gentleman stayed away from Hope Impacts because I wasn't going to buy into the lifestyle he was living, and he wasn't wanting to change. And one of our ladies died because of drugs, and last year this gentleman came to me. He had 3 pit bulls, and he said, I'm tired of the life I'm living. I really want to make a difference. I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to go. I just need help. We have a partnership with the Humane Society, and they took his 3 dogs while he went into rehab. He went to Open Door, which is a Christian rehab. He got sober. He got saved, and now he's working in the rehabilitation world, and he is telling other people, if my life can be changed, your life can be changed. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. And these are the type of people that when you look at a homeless person, and you're like, oh, he's mentally ill, he has a drug problem, he never wants to change his life. Why are you wasting your time? Because God loves us where we are, but too much to leave us there. And I believe that if you see potential, and that potential is in Christ, that anybody can change their life if they're willing to change it. And this man was willing to change his life, and I had to eat crow, and I had to be humble, and I had to say to God, forgive me for my preconceived notion of how you were going to use this man, because God can take anybody and make them new. And so I'm very proud of him. He's been sober now for almost a year, and he's helping other men become sober. And so I just use that story to say, don't ever write anybody off, because God never writes anybody off. And we should not make preconceived notions about where somebody's life's going to go based on their past, because we all can have a new future if we want it. So just one last thing, Jeremiah 29:11 is our core verse, and it's, for I know the promises I have for you, says the Lord, promises to offer you hope, not harm, promises for a hope and a future. And so God created people in his image because he has a purpose and a plan for them, and we want to see everybody be able to walk into the purpose and plan he has for them. These are just a few ways we meet people. We hand them out hygiene packs and invite them to come and get a shower and some clean clothes. And we hand out food packs and invite them to come in and get a warm meal and a shower. And our best word of mouth is homeless person to homeless person and person in need to person in need. And those numbers went from 180 that we've helped go from homeless to house to 223 now that we've helped go from homeless to house. But God gets the glory for that. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to answer any questions you might have. I'd love for you to get involved. There's plenty of opportunities to volunteer on several different levels. And I would love for you to just come to Suppers and Showers and just sit down and talk to somebody that you would not have otherwise had the opportunity to meet and hear your story.
So, here's my question to you.
Yes.
Last month we bought a portable vision screen. Can we take it from there to the videos? Can we
Can you come and screen them?
like take away your Suppers and Showers videos? So,
Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, the vision people we work with only see one client a month. So that's 12 clients a year. So we have more than that. So, yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Did I give you any information you didn't already know? Did I make you think about homelessness just a little bit different? So the thing, if you're in the CPS system when you're 18, you graduate, your families get no more money and you're on your own. So we have our youngest client right now is 19 and our oldest person that we're helping right now is 82. We just put him on a bus to go back to Colombia. He has cancer, so he comes here for cancer treatments. His daughter has leukemia and she's not doing well. So he wanted to go back to Colombia and see his daughter before she passed away. And most of the time people come to us thinking nobody can understand my situation, but they leave thinking there are so many people in this room that understand my situation and care about me. And that's the main thing for me, is for people to know they're loved, they're cared for, they're not judged, and that we want to help them improve their situation and their circumstance. And one day we hope to be able to offer a community that supports affordable housing. So if you don't know about Community First in Austin, I would love for you to go look that up when you leave here, because that's a model that I think is a really good model of helping people move forward in life and addressing the needs that they have and giving them dignity and respect for the rest of their days. So it depends. So because we've gotten like almost 30 people housed this year, the numbers have dwindled. It used to be like up to 30 to 35 people, and now we can probably, I would say, anywhere from 15 to 25 people, depending on what night it is. So Tuesday night was our first night coming back after taking some time off, so we had about 15 people show up. When I left tonight, there was probably 15 people in the room, and there probably will be more people coming. There's more people that come to our Suppers and Showers program than come to us during the day, because some people are working or they're looking for work. So they're not going to risk getting a job or not going to work to come and see us. But we also work around people's schedules. So we want to meet them where they are and work with them where they are. No, 3,000 people in the Houston area. There's not 3,000 people in Katy.
that would be
No. No, there's 3,000 people in the Katy area that are experiencing, in the Houston area that are experiencing homelessness. So in January, on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, we're doing the homeless count. Every year we do a homeless count. The homeless count does not represent factuality of the homeless situation, but it's the best tool we have to go out on certain days and count. You have to know where the encampments are. You have to count the people in the encampment. Those are the numbers that they go on. So I would say if they say there's 3,000 people that have been counted homeless, there's probably more like 5,000 people that are homeless, because they can't count everybody, because you have to be present to count them. If they're found. So it doesn't just happen in Houston, it happens in Katy. Katy sends them out. What, you're homeless, you're released, maybe you were here from somewhere else, maybe you're visiting, you don't have any place to go, you're disoriented, they've given you the medical treatment you have. Methodist Hospital and Memorial Hermann Hospital call me and say, what do I do with this homeless guy? Well, I don't have anywhere to put him. So we have 5 to 10 new people. We used to have 5 to 10 new people a month. Sometimes we can have 5 new people a week walk through our door now. So every time we get somebody housed, we have 5 people walking behind them that are needing help. So it's never going to stop. And now the eviction moratorium has been lifted after the pandemic, so more and more families are finding themselves facing homelessness because they haven't recovered. Yes, so that's the other thing is September of 21, there was a law passed that it was illegal to camp out in public. So the people that are homeless, that don't have a place to go, you can't be seen in public under a bridge or on private or public property. And so we used to hand out tents. We don't anymore because we can't participate in people breaking the law. And I can't tell them where there's a safe place to go because there's no legal place for them to go. Downtown, it is. It's not legal though. It is because there's not enough places to put everybody. Where are they gonna? So for instance, the HOA in my neighborhood, well, where my office is, said, well, they're causing the homeless situation, so they need to be shut down. I'm not causing the homeless situation. The homeless situation was here. That's why I exist. They cleaned out the bridge where they were complaining about people making a mess. Look, I live in Katy. I don't like the mess any more than anybody else does, okay? My children go to schools in Katy. My grandchildren go to schools in Katy. I want my community to be a safe community. They have preconceived notions that every single homeless person is wanting to break into your house and stab you. It's just not true. So they cleaned out under the bridge that they were complaining about. I understand the complaints. Those people relocated someplace else where they're not being seen. So the thing is, oh great, they got rid of the homeless people finally. Well, what did they think they did? Just disappear into thin air? Like, they had to go somewhere. Until they're caught, there's some place where they can stay until they're caught, and then they'll get cleaned out from there, and then they'll have to go someplace else because there's no place for them to go. I work with Coalition for the Homeless. We are trying to do the HMIS and put people in the HMIS system. So some of the people of ours that have gotten housed, we've worked with the Coalition for the Homeless, and they've gotten them housed through their voucher system, and we work with the case managers and the organizations that do that. We don't do housing ourselves, but everybody that we get housed is displaced from the community where they have support and where they've grown up, and they're moved into Houston with the apartment complexes that accept the vouchers. Nobody in Katy needs to accept the vouchers because people are waiting in line to move into Katy. So let's just say, for instance, 20 of my clients who have built community and relationships and support here are now living over by Hobby Airport, in A-Leaf, in Jersey Village, in Southwest Houston, and Northwest Houston, and Northeast Houston. And there needs to be more aftercare when those people are moved into housing to help them be successful. Because the model is housing first. Get into housing and then we'll worry about your mental health issue or your medical issue or your addiction issue or whatever that is. But my whole thing is, don't take their community away from them. I still go to Southwest Houston and A-Leaf and Northwest Houston and Spring Branch and Jersey Village and visit people that want me to visit them because they still need that community and relationship. There's not enough space for everybody in need. let me just I'll end with this because I could go and talk about this all night long. But the biggest issue is everybody wants a solution to homelessness, but nobody wants it in their backyard. So that's our NIMBY issue. So I would love to create a sustainable solution to homelessness with affordable housing, job training opportunities, rehabilitation opportunities, a clinic, you know, everything to meet people's needs. Everybody thinks that's a great idea as long as it's far away, hidden away from them so that their property values don't get affected by it. You know, it's the fear factor of those people. Those people are us. Correct, 10 to 15%. In that situation. You have to deal with the issues that they're facing. I'll be glad to stay and talk to you after if you have any questions.
We're like way over time.